Conjuring Last Rites is now the biggest global opening weekend for a horror film ever, which is
Wow.
crazy. So I
Yeah.
guess let's start with that for both of you. I'm curious. I mean, this franchise is so huge. It's probably one of my favorite kind of horror series that I kept up with, and to see it end is a whole other thing. But to know that you're part of this legacy must feel pretty cool. So for both of you, I mean, how do you react to news like that when you're breaking records on your first time as the Warrens? You know?
Yeah, just so cool. I mean, obviously, like being a part of this franchise at all was so incredible, and like you said, it's just already been so fundamental to, the whole horror genre. This
Yeah.
this franchise has done so much. So the fact that the movie has performed so well over the weekend just is like the cherry on top and just makes everything incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so exciting because this franchise has been around for a while, and obviously stepping into it, we knew we were stepping into something that has an amazing established audience and fan base. But I just think it's so cool how people are showing up for this last installment, and I think it just makes me really happy that people are here for the final chapter and that people are going to theaters because I think that's so important. So
Yeah.
it's super exciting and mind-blowing how well it's doing. But yeah, it's fantastic.
When the movie first started, I was genuinely impressed because for a second I thought they were de-aging Patrick and Vera.
Yeah.
For like and I think that's a testament to how good the costuming and the production design and the art department do on these films. But your reactions, I'm wondering, when you saw yourself in like the classic Warren get-ups, did you double take? Did you see yourself in the previous iterations of the characters as well?
I mean, I think Orion looks so much like
Yeah.
That's
like
true.
Patrick. So it just I felt like for me too in the talks that I was having with Michael, there was more sort of ways that I had to be super cognizant about how I would hold my face and certain facial expressions to really sell it. And I watching it, I think I did feel pleasantly surprised. I'm like, this is effective, this is working, and it made me super happy. And of course, like the hair and the costumes, they all just complete everything and really sell it. But yeah, I was really, really excited when I saw it.
Do you now think like, can I go back into Patrick's filmography and play younger versions of him and other things?
Oh man. I mean, that would be wild. I got the likeness of him like growing up, like through I'd say like
Mm,
college is when it started. People were like, you kind of look like that actor. And then like I was bartending for a while and a week wouldn't go by where someone was like, "You look like Patrick Wilson." And I was like, there's something here. And then when this part came together and getting cast in this, it was just like, this is incredible. The fact that it actually came together and I was able to play like a younger version of him, especially in Conjuring, was
yeah.
just so cool. And even like on the screen, I saw it on Friday when it opened up with some friends. And afterwards, they're like, dude, I could have sworn it was Patrick for the first half of your filming. And then I realized, no, wait, that's actually him. I was like, it
Even
was,
That's
tricking
awesome.
your loved ones is a pretty
yeah,
cool stamp to
Yeah.
have.
yeah.
I do want to kind of get into like the performance of it itself, because there are so many layers, I think, to where the Warrens are in your guys's time with them, because not only are you adapting real life people, you're adapting people who have been portrayed fictionally throughout this series, and on top of that you want to serve the narrative and also create something or carve something out that's you as a performer, right? So what was the balance like in like really fine tuning who they were when we meet them in this film?
Part of the reason that Vera specifically was steadfast in not doing de-aging is because she wanted younger people to come in and have like this fresh new perspective because we're portraying them at the beginning of their career on their
Mhm.
first case, and there's a very different energy there. So I think that was something that really worked in our favor. But in terms of also making these characters feel familiar and like versions of them that the audiences have fallen in love with, it definitely was like audience have fallen in love and have come to know Vera and Patrick's version of Ed and Lorraine, I think, so much on screen. So definitely for me, it was studying a lot of what Vera has done, and then also looking at old interviews of Lorraine and kind of meshing the two. But I really honed in on trying to get some of that energy that Vera has, if possible, because she's so amazing, and so that audiences felt like it was the Lorraine that they knew as well.
Yeah, totally. I am curious just because the scene that you guys have, the delivery scene is super harrowing, and in my opinion it's probably the most traumatizing scene in the whole film, and there are literal demons coming out, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm just curious, when you saw that on paper, how did you wrap your mind around the intensity of what that scene was going to be and what that trauma would do to the Warrens as they go on this career path?
I think it is such an intense and beautiful scene by the end. But it is, something like that changes who someone is. And
Yeah.
so there was a lot of who are the Warrens before this? How much more naive are they? How much more just like young are they? And really approaching this as like they're married kids who are having a pregnancy, and they're going through this and they're learning as they go. And yeah, kind of just taking that the intensity and the fear of what's going on in this scene, and trying to just figure out what's happening, and then the bad, and then it works out all right in the end. If I remember correctly, Madison, in the original audition, there wasn't that moment of relief at the end, and it
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
ended negatively.
Oh,
And
wow.
really, ending that way just kind of made you sit with the reality of it, and just like, wow, this is such an intense thing that is real, for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think you're dealing with like it's interesting because it's in a horror movie and you're dealing with all of these fears that people have, these demons, these creatures, these monsters, but truly the biggest fear I think that Lorraine would ever have would be losing her child. So it's actually
Mm.
coming face to face with what she finds to be the most terrifying thing in the world. And definitely impacts her, as you can see for the rest of the film, and her connection and her concern for watching over Judy and everything. I think it has this massive ripple effect.
I think it's a kind of reflective of, like, as a viewer, how I've seen the Conjuring films, where it's become so much less about the cases for me, and it's always about the Warrens. And what I really liked about this film was we got so much insight to what their family dynamic is, but that first scene really sets off kind of all the stakes for the drama in this one. But I am curious, just because this we're dealing with the supernatural, and your scene has that terrifying mirror in it. So I'm just wondering if there were any like real life kind of weird things that happen on set for you, or are you not a believer? I guess is the second part of that question.
There really was a moment on the first day we were filming, I guess like without too much detail, but like there's that door that we open, and in the first take that we were filming there, when we both look back at the door, it opened by itself without anyone in the room, without, whatever. And it was like the perfect timing right when we looked at it. And everyone on set was like, that's just weird. And yeah, that was definitely the most actual haunting moment on set.
It happened at such a perfect
Mhm.
time when we turned our heads that it felt like, oh, wait, was that part of this scene?
Oh,
It was so
totally.
strangely perfect, but no one touched anything in actuality. It was chill inducing for sure.
Oh man, I was talking to Michael recently, and he was telling me that, like, his daughter, while they were shooting out in the Vicar house or staying in the Vicar house for one of these films, his daughter took a picture on her iPad and was like, "Daddy, look at the man in the photo." And he's like, "I
Ah!
do not see a man in the photo." And so I was just like, like hearing stuff like that just like kind of changes my perspective on what it might feel like on these sets, because I'm a believer. And the moment I see something weird, I shut down. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
don't acknowledge it, don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But I do want to just we'll wrap with this, but like the tension is so high, but this movie does actually have a very sweet, heartwarming ending. I got very kind of emotional to it. But for both of you, I wonder what's kind of your reaction to the end of this story, of this franchise, and saying goodbye to the Warrens, having gotten to play a part of their legacy.
I think they really did the Warrens justice in such a beautiful way. I think that, I, as also a fan of the Conjuring series, have come to love them and their family so much. And to see sort of this beautiful chapter and to end on this sentiment and with Ed and Lorraine, I think it's very touching and very satisfying. I think you leave feeling like, okay, I'm good with I know they're okay, and
Yeah.
I think that's nice.
I think it was a beautiful ending. The way they wrapped it up, and it was just so cool to be a part of it.
Well, I thank you guys so much for your time and congratulations. I can only imagine that that number is going to keep climbing in the box office, but I really appreciate it. And I, again, specifically really, really loved your guys' scene in this. So thank you so
Thank
much for
you so much. It
Thank
was
you
so
so
nice
much. I
talking.
really appreciate that.